Good evening and welcome to Talking Songs with me, Roland Jones, the first one of 2022. This is episode number 70 something or other. I'm not precise, you see, you can have consummate professionalism here. So welcome to 2022, which hopefully will be a bit more exciting than 2021. So what have I got to say? It's, well, we're here. We're here and we're in one piece. Now, normally I start the evening off by playing a tune, but I'm not going to play a tune this evening because I've got a bit of a problem with my wrist, and I don't want to strain my wrist. But what I'm going to do is play you something which I'm quite excited about because I've just released a new album. So I'm going to give you a little taster of this. This is.
I've been thinking about where I've been, the places I've visited, the things I've seen, made decisions by people I've met. Some were good ones and some I regret. Don't know the future, can't change the past, that's how it is. That's how it is.
What a groovy little number that is. Quite proud of that. It was recorded live at a place called the Hermon Chapel Art Centre in Oswestry. It was a gig we did there last year. And it's a great place, lovely venue, run by a lovely guy who's also a brilliant sound engineer. And it's got a great setup there. We recorded the whole thing. And we've just mixed and mastered 7 tracks off that, which is now available on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and will shortly be available as CDs as well, if any of you out there still use them. And that's it, yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting some feedback off that. So I'm quite proud of that one. So over to tonight. So in the course of my research for this program, I was looking at various, and I talked, I sort of looked to different places, and I came across this guy in South Wales called Hugh James, and he was raving about somebody called James Dixon. So I thought, right, this man has got to be worth checking out. So I've checked him out. So joining me in the studio this evening, as they say, is Mr. James Dixon himself. Evening, James.
No way. Good evening. Good old Hugh.
Yeah. You can give him a pat on the head. No, that sounds a bit patronising, doesn't it? So how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Good. Very happy to be here. I haven't done anything like this year. Not yet.
Funnily enough, neither have I yet.
Yeah, no,
oh, great. Ryan, okay, back to square one. Where did it all start for you, James?
I've been. Right.
Guitar playing, songwriting.
Yeah. Dad, mum.
Yeah.
Records. Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, etc.
Yep.
Mum was arthritic, but she had a guitar given to her when she was younger. So there was always a guitar that had been unspoiled since 1960 something.
Yeah.
So picked that up as soon as I could pick stuff up, I think, and then started playing in primary school. Around
that early,
playing Cinnamon when we were like 6 or 7, and lots of hymns and stuff. I went to Catholic primary school, so I did a lot of sitting around strumming along with hymns and stuff like that, which was really really good way of beginning. Then got to high school, Church of England, so it was all kind of dirty heathen satanic stuff. And, picked up the electric guitar, played Stairway to Heaven when I was in year 7 in public, and that was the last time I got nervous on stage.
The first and last.
Yeah, I was nervous, but then after that, I mean, anyway, so and just didn't. I love
the idea of doing Stairway to Heaven in church. I think that's magic.
Yeah, funny one. Yeah, funny one. But, you don't know any better when you're 10. The people around you are supposed to know better, I think, but it was fun. It was cool.
They probably did.
Probably did. We'll let you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then just a straight line from there till I was about 22, probably 20. what did I do? I graduated from Exeter Uni, where I played a lot. I played guitar and surfed more than I did my degree, and which is cool. And then when I graduated, I then went home and got a job, and forgot about the guitar really for a little while. I still played a fair bit and sung a bit, but had a distraction where I was looking at a career of office and driving around the country doing non-musical stuff for a long time. And then had a bit of an epiphany when I was about 26, 27. Very overweight, very depressed, living in the wrong place with the wrong person. Was like, I shouldn't really be doing this. And the guitar was front and center really of the reason. I was like, I can play, I should be playing. And I knew at that point I could write, although I hadn't written. So I had this idea that I had writer's block or whatever. And then took a big jump, left my house and my job and all sorts of stuff over a period of about 6 months, and moved to Bude, where I live now and have done happily ever since. 6 years ago. And started writing again. And that combined with some travel and some healthy living and all of that just unleashed the floodgates, really. And when I first started it full time and committed to music as a career, my idea was, well, if within a year I can be earning enough to pay half of my bills, then I'll be stoked. Within 3 weeks, I had a full schedule. So it was because I was doing sales and stuff before then. And then that's it, really. I haven't really got any bigger ambitions. I just like to take my place as another member of the creative community. I just happen to play guitar and write songs and sing. But I'm the same as a very special person said to me once. She said, there's no difference between you and any other artisan in a local community, but there's something about musicians that people seem to think that you want to be going up to the stars and getting out to festivals and getting record deal stuff. And that would be nice, but I've got no interest in having that as a goal. I'm just enjoying playing and getting paid. I still find it hilarious that I can get paid to play guitar. It's ridiculous. So that's basically it, really.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's the Whistle Stop tour anyway.
That's impressive. It's interesting that you say that you were convinced you could write songs even though you hadn't, because a lot of the people I've spoken to, I mean, I didn't start writing songs for, oh God, I was considerably older than you before I started writing songs, because I didn't think I could write songs. And every time I tried to write something, I thought, this is absolute drivel. Whereas lots of people I have spoken to said, oh yeah, I wrote my first song when I was about 9 or 10 or something like that. Whereas you had this sort of conviction at one point that you could do it even though you hadn't.
So I had a conviction that I could, because I wrote my first song when I was about 10 or 11.
Oh right.
I had this period between graduating and getting a job and then getting block or whatever for a few years.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't block. It was just Johnny Cash says you got to be full up to spill out or spill over or whatever he said. I wasn't full up, I wasn't
full up enough to spill.
Yeah, or I was everything that I was spilling over, all the creativity was going into the business side of things.
Yeah.
So, and then someone else said to me that really helped, and I don't know, touch wood, we'll see whether this does what I hope it will do, but I think that what I'm about to say should keep the idea of writer's block at bay forever, which is the idea that you're never blocked, you're just gestating.
Right. Okay.
And you're just pregnant with your next song.
You're
just acquiring the experience. If you write from experience, which it sounds like you do.
Yeah.
And I, well, having just watched the Beatles documentaries, I'm not sure that they did. I think they just kind of went.
It just came up every pore.
Even then, that comes from a lifetime of experience and preparedness and honing your art, doesn't it? But I think if you just look at all those periods when you're not writing as periods where you're just absorbing things that will help you to write, then
that
makes
makes
should
sense.
help. I don't know. And if you write if you write stuff that you think's crap, then it probably means you're on the right road. Because you're not supposed to love what you write, are you?
Absolutely
you're supposed
not.
to go, I'm a charlatan. I can't do it.
Yeah, there was the imposter syndrome and all that. Yeah,
Yes.
I think once you think you've written the perfect song, then okay, you might as well pack it in. Once you think you've done the perfect anything, I think you ought to pack it in, frankly.
Yeah.
But okay, then James, what are we going to start with? What's your first song for the evening?
I reckon I'll start with a slightly. Let's start on. I just don't know. Sometimes I don't. One of my things is I don't write set lists. Right. I like to try and. I like to feel the audience out and see how the night's going, because I did write set lists for a long time and ended up realizing, well, I should never have written that set list. That was a waste of an hour before the gig, or however long it takes you to write the set list. I remember just thinking, I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to feel it out. But it's different here. I've got a list of songs that I could play. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go on this. I've convinced myself of what I'm going to do. So, take this cap off this guitar. There's a really good comedian called Jim Owen. I don't know if you know him, but he does this thing where he stands on the front of the stage and then just in silence, looking at the audience for a few moments, and then like just moves over to another, just stands over here and then stands back, and eventually the audience just starts giggling, and then he goes, whoa, and he jumps to another spot and everyone bursts out laughing, and then he moves over to another bit and they go quiet and he goes, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find the funniest part of the stage. And it's really funny. It's
excellent.
I've always wanted to try something like that at a gig.
Excellent. But, I like it.
Yeah,
I shall look out for that. Jim Owen.
So we're going to
make a note of that. Yeah.
Oh, it's an Irish spelling as well. It's like Jim Owen. So it's Jim O-E-I-N-U-G-H-K or whatever the Irish spelling would be.
I think what's actually happened with the Irish spelling, I think the Irish have stolen all our Welsh vowels, because we just got all the consonants and they've got all the vowels. I think that's the way it works. So
yeah, right.
It's a Celtic thing.
And the Cornish just get really confusing as well. So.
Yes, that's
very confusing. I'll start with a song off the album that's out there, which is called Trespassing Light. If anyone wants to give it a stream, I might make a penny in a year. That would be really cool. But it's this little song called Pick It Up. It's about plastic washing up on beaches, but I hope you like it anyway. Light on the horizon is gone now for the day. The ebb and flow gonna come and go, but never takes away. A hacking cough on a tide line, the cancer spume and a spray. The howling cold gonna give us gold in what we throw away. Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. Some days we're walking free, and in the rest we're in jail. It's a thankless task worth of doing. If we don't, we're out of luck. So getting down on the knees at the salty church. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up and now, please. You go around the world and you see plastic everywhere. It's in a fat cat stacked fat credit card and in a hippie's braided hair. There's plastic in my surfboard, plastic in your screen. It's wrapped around my fingernails and around these guitar strings. 'Cause some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. Some days we're walking free, and in the rest we're in jail. Somehow like a feeling, if we don't, we're out of luck. So getting down on your knees at the salty church. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up and now, please. Some days it's the overdose, some days it's the noose. It's a cry for help and a show and tell of a hell that's breaking loose. Some days you hang your head, you put your hands up to your face, and this is single service suicide that's lying all over this beautiful place. 'Cause some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. Some days we're walking free, and on the rest we are in jail. It's a thankless task worth doing. If we don't, we're out of luck. So getting down on your knees at the salty church. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up and now, please. Pick it up and now. Pick it up now. Put the light on the horizon, it's coming back again. The ebb and flow should only show you that work can now begin. So like a reckless flag, come on, grab a bag and a cup of coffee in one of those bamboo cups, and I'll see you down at the tide line. Pick it up and now, please. I'll see you down at the tide line. Pick it up and now, please. So I'll see you down at the tide line. Pick it up and now, please.
Great.
In the mic, hey.
Get every single last vibration out of it. Excellent. No, cool song. I like it. It's nice to hear a song that actually has a message without being preachy.
Oh, I'm glad it doesn't come across as preachy.
Not at all. And also just the hook line of "pick it up" is just brilliant because it has a sort of double meaning to it, which is nice.
Yeah.
But
I
like you.
put the word "please" on the end of it because I wanted to. Someone said you should say "please" at the end, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's a middle class
Get up
protest song. Excellent. Yeah. I like the
Yeah.
couplets as well. There's sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. It's good stuff.
Well, that finished the song for me. That was what finished it. So
Yeah.
I kind of had it. I had the guitar line for a long time. Really strongly influenced by an American singer called Chris Whitley, who I adore. And I was playing around with just ripping him off basically, and I didn't have anything to finish. And there was just one day on the radio, like there always is. It's just someone said, "Some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail," and I was like,
"Yeah, that'll do."
That happens. It's the radio does it for me. The radio finishes songs like that all the time. Just little turns of phrase. I got a whole book of just nothing. There's nothing original under the sun, is there? You've just got to. If someone manages to make a beautiful combination of words that roll off the tongue and have a bit of assonance and a bit of internal rhythm and rhyme and staccato, and you take it and use it, because you don't know how that little piece, "some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail," evokes an image that then with its own rhythm and its own kind of consonant quality will sit over what the music's come out of your brain, and your brain is going to have just
slap the two
all these
together.
other guitar. And your brain, you don't really understand how your brain's come up with the music that you're playing. It's kind of a big one pot. It's a big one pot meal of all the guitar players you've ever tried to rip off. Just put it into one thing and spewing it out. So take other people's words for sure. It's anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm up for that. It's I often quite It's been attributed to various people, either Picasso or Michelangelo, about amateurs borrow but true artists steal. And so people have been echoing your thoughts since the 1500s. So, no, but I think but also I think there's a sort of there's almost an inevitability about it, about music, that you listen to things and you think, oh yeah, I really like that, and then sometime later that little hook line or whatever it is in the back of your brain is going to drop out, and you might even have forgotten where it came from. And then sometime later you listen to something and you think, oh yeah, maybe that's where I got it from, or maybe that's not
totally. I got so many of them. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phrases. Some of them I've thought up, or rather thought up. Some I haven't worked out where I've stolen them from. I got one at the moment, which is that oblivion isn't a hole, it's a merry-go-round. That's got so much potential for a song, but I just know the process of writing that song is going to be awful.
It's going to be hard work, isn't it?
Well, it's something that comes out of lockdown, isn't it? And drinking too much, you just go, when you're in oblivion, you want to go, you think oblivion's a pit, you think it's a hole you go into. And it's not. It's just a cyclical thing that you just jump on board and you're like, well, I'm going to drink loads. I'm going to hate myself and be hungover. Oh, I'm going to drink loads and hate myself. Oh, I want some more. Oh, carry on and on. And it's not. Maybe you have to go down to find the merry-go-round at the bottom of the pit and then get off it and go back up to the top of the hole. So it's good. It's a thing that came to me one day and I was like, I want to use that, but I don't know that the song that I would write.
I think you just said it. You just said it there, didn't you? About dive to the bottom and find that merry-go-round until you can come back up.
Yeah,
it's heading there. Yeah. It's heading there. Stir it around a bit. You'll be going with it.
Get on the pony.
Yeah, exactly. Do you? You were saying that's on the last album, and you mentioned earlier on that you ready to do another one. You want to get started recording on it. Do you think? Do you write songs that are independent songs, or do you see this album that you're about to do as being a set of songs which fit together?
So
are they thematic?
So I have two rules, just so I have some constraints, so I don't go insane, because otherwise it's just unbounded, infinite stuff in front of you. Like, ooh. Yeah. So my rules are: each album that I do will be an album, and it will have 12 tracks.
Right. Okay.
Because I've got a fascination with a circle divided into 12. I think it's a sacred piece of geometry, right? The clock, the calendar, the apostles, the musical scale, the circle of fifths. Yeah, exactly. Signs of the zodiac, they're all tied in, and we don't really understand what that is, and I love it. So I just said, right, 12 tracks, and when I've got 12, then off we go. The last record was a load of songs that were kind of a statement of where I was with my songwriting and where I wasn't in terms of here's a box you put me in, because I don't really. I think the days of genres should be long gone, shouldn't they? I mean, in terms of you fit into a genre. It's like I don't want to listen to that person if that's what they are. My favorite bands at the moment, there's this thing you can't see behind me. It says we always sing even when we're
I did notice that. Yeah, I was reading that before.
That's by my favorite band in the world at the moment, Lankum, who are an Irish folk band. You listen to them, I mean, on the surface of it, they're called an Irish folk band, but you listen to them, they're not. They're like metal-inspired, traditional acoustic instrument, protest, dark dirge. I mean, it's amazing music. But to go, well, if you like the Chieftains, then you're gonna love Lankum. It's just like, no. I mean, you probably will, but it's not. You're not gonna. The genre thing is just a bit weird. So I was kind of not deliberately, but kind of saying there's not going to be one thematic production quality on the last album. So I recorded some in here. I recorded some elsewhere. I recorded some through my live speakers. So there's a different audio quality on the vocals, which can be a bit jarring, and it means that my album's going to sit. It's not going to be something that you just kind of, I'm just going to put a random track from that album onto a playlist and listen to it, because it doesn't sound, the mastering and the performance doesn't fit in with a load of other kind of, we need it to sound like this, and I don't want it to. So I want my albums to be consumed as albums. I don't want them to be, here's a song, here's a song.
Yeah.
Here's something easily consumable. I want to challenge you to think and I don't know.
Do you always
pay
do,
me
do,
money.
do, do you put it out on the CD, or do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I play so much in Cornwall
Yeah.
during the summer that everyone wants to have a takeaway from a gig. And even if it wasn't Cornwall in the summer, people want to remember where people want to remember stuff. People want to have
I agree with you.
from gigs. And this whole idea of giving lanyards or codes and stuff out at gigs, it doesn't feel right. And if I could get vinyl produced, it would all be on vinyl. But I don't know whether you know, the lead times on getting vinyls produced at the moment are like over a year. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, 9 months is the earliest I've had as a quote this week. And then the main guys that I use in Plymouth who are really good for CD production are just like, the raw material and all that magic hot pot of the Suez Canal and all the other stuff with COVID and Brexit's just screwed it all up completely.
Yeah. What about places like Bandcamp?
Bandcamp are amazing. I can't say enough about Bandcamp. And I think if Bandcamp, I mean, what they do with they do what's it called? The Fridays. They do one Friday a month where they skip the fees, don't they?
Yeah.
So you get to keep everything, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think, but it needs to be the consumer of the music needs to have the responsibility put onto them for how they consume music. Just this whole, like, I compare it a lot to fishing nets and stuff like that for consuming music. Spotify, etc. They're all just like trawler nets going.
Yeah.
And they're a trawler net that learns what you like, and they can be pretty good at it. And I have accounts where I use it. But when you do find someone that you like, when you do, in the bycatch, you've got a bluefin tuna that you love, then your job then as the consumer is to go to Bandcamp and buy all of their stuff and get the t-shirt or the scarf or I'm going to make tea towels this year. I think tea towels at gigs, I think it would be great. And
that's magic. I
think they'd be great. And you can sell them as a piece of art as well. You could say, put it in a frame when you get home, like an old lady who used to put like tea towels in frames.
Like samplers, use it. Call them.
Yeah, right. Or clean up the blood in the kitchen when when someone's, what I mean, there's all sorts of
let's not go there.
Stuff that could be used. I stubbed my toe in my kitchen the other day. That's why it's just bleeding everywhere. It was awful. All right. But I used an old tea towel, and I thought, this is what my tea towel should be used for. It'd be really funny. But
James Dixon advocates tea towels.
Yeah, exactly. Coasters as well is something I was going to do. So chop up a load of some trees that fell down in the garden and make them into coasters. But obviously I didn't. Back when I tried to do that, I forgot about the warping nature of drying wood, so I cut up all these coasters and they all split.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But to get back to your question about the albums and themes and stuff like that, this one, it's actually going to be 2. I've got enough material to do 2 without compromising quality, I think. But I think one of them, the first one, has to be called Songs from the Time of COVID, actually, because they've all been written during this period,
right?
And they all reflect what's been going on from my perspective. And it's matured my songwriting. It's made it a bit more focused and I've given myself the credit to write on deeper things because I kind of trust myself now, and I also trust my audience as well. My audience isn't big, but it's dedicated in Cornwall, and the people who come will tell me honestly whether it was a load of crap or whether it was good or not. Sometimes it takes people a while to actually listen to the stuff, but when they do, it tends to be pretty good feedback, which I'm grateful for. So, but yeah, I think maybe the one after that's going to be Songs of Hope and Despair. I'd like the albums to kind of have a theme. Trespassing Light, the previous album, was the idea that, and it sent the whole piece, the gestalt of the piece is that the artwork on the front and in the inside, and the words and the lyrics and the songs and the order of my album, the track listing order is deliberately designed for vinyl, so that you flip it and you have another first track.
Yeah.
So, you know, like great vinyls, you'll flip it like Graceland, you flip it and the first track is You Can Call Me Al. You know, it's like they deliberately chose that so that when you go through the motions and the ritual,
people still spend a lot of time working out what the order of tracks should be. That's why I often ask people on this show, you know, if they're over a certain age, do they ever use a shuffle button on a CD player? And to a man, they say no, because you get used to hearing an album that goes in a certain direction. And I always like to think that if I hear a track on the radio which is from an album that I know, I'm then disappointed that I don't hear the next track after it. You know, it sort of falls apart. But no, that's interesting.
The other thing about the vinyl stuff now is that actually to get the audio quality that I want, it needs to be spread across 4. So that makes doing the track listing that much more complicated. But it's I'm dedicated to making sure that an album is as whole a piece of art as possible, from the lyrics to the track listing, to the art and the way it feels and the way that you hold it and all of that stuff. So that's why I can't wait to start working on it. But
would you like to sing us a song from the forthcoming album then?
I would. Yes, I'm going to
cue for a song.
I'm going to retune quickly. That's all right. It shouldn't take very long. It's a song about my experience of lockdown in its totality. It's written as a 3-piece, so it's written as if I wanted to be really pretentious, I'd call it a triptych. But it's actually just a 3-versed song.
Right.
It's an open G tuning. It's called Empty Calories. It does have a bit of a story around it. So the first verse is about my experience, written from many different people's perspective of the first lockdown. The second verse is about being slightly concerned about one of my friends, through the images of metaphor. And the third verse is about the healing power of my garden and gardens generally. It's called Empty Calories because diamonds are silly, and I was trying to use the diamond as the metaphor. I hope it comes across well anyway. So alone, compelled to isolation in your home. Even your phone is acting like it hates you. Overload. It's Tuesdays indoors, Wednesdays applause. By Friday, you're on the floor crying. It hurts that much, this pain is such that you need a crutch, but you're trying. These islands in the streams, I don't know what they mean. It's just empty calories wrapped in dopamine like diamonds. Peter Pan, leave behind the lost boys and Neverland. Take my hand, Geppetto waits for you to understand. But Tinkerbell knows the Emperor's clothed with powdered nose, 'cause he's frightened. That despair that you feel can be repealed, 'cause joy is real. But to buy yourself a dream with 3 months' salary is just empty calories wrapped in dopamine like a diamond. I'm sold. Just one more time around and then I'll grow old. I'm in from the cold. It's filling up my belly and my soul. You're up with the dawn, grow like a lawn, as fast as the corn, into the wide horizon. Like all things that grow, it starts to slow. Cracks will show, but fruit begins to ripen. Pick just what you need. Save some time for eating, because empty calories are wrapped in dopamine like a diamond, like a diamond. Islands in the streams, I don't know what they mean. I could buy myself a dream with 3 months' salary, but empty calories are wrapped in dopamine like diamonds.
Nice.
Thanks.
So the albums, are you looking to? Do you record all the stuff with you were saying before that you recorded sort of in your house or around the house in various locations? Is it all done as solo guitar, or are you overdubbing things, or do you work with other musicians, or what? Tell us a bit about it.
A bit of both, a bit of everything. So I've only just got my head around how I work in terms of engineering. So where the mics are set and everything. I've got enough kit here to engineer myself completely. So when I play live, I play with a stomp box and a tambourine on my left foot. That's really for the live experience, and it's really to increase the amount of places that I can play, because if you can do that, then you could go and play a Friday and a Saturday night in a bar and a pub, because a properly amped up kick drum is
Yeah.
all right. You know, when you're doing finger picking and singing and slide work and all the rest of it, it's
Yeah.
you almost drunkenly think that there was a band playing, but it's pretty but so that's not the sound that I want when I'm recording, though.
No, I understand that.
But it's also, I'm not trying to record stuff that I can reproduce live. I'm maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. Well, I'll find out. But so when I do a fair bit just acoustic. They tend to be the more the tender ones. And then I just kind of try and let it flow. Just try and let the actual recording process, without trying to sound too pretentious. Again, I try and let the recording process be the recording process, because I don't know, you read enough about how great bands have gone into the studio. They don't go in most of the time with a clearly defined, this is exactly how I want this to sound. It just kind of, particularly when you hear Queen, Mark, the stuff that Queen were just doing off the cuff in the studio for that level,
staggering,
like, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And you hear stuff about, I'm not a massive fan of Elton John, but you hear the stories about him trying to find like the right mic placement for Saturday Nights All Right. And he ended up having to, like, for the 50th take and all this wasted tape, just lying on his back at some godly hour, just lying on his back just to try and get it right. So, and that's also to make a take of the song that is going to last forever. You know, there's this obsession with like, well, it's going to be, that's it. That's what the song is. And I'm like, that's not what the song is. It's what the studio version of the song is. But I'm also tempted to do, I quite like to do an experiment, to do an album which is 12 versions of the same song, just recorded at different times, like live, different instruments, people playing with me. I could do them when I'm pissed, you do all different types of it, just to prove that this obsession with finding the version of the song is ridiculous. It's not a painting.
Well, I agree with you in that, because also the thing for me is, if a song is well constructed and makes sense, and the lyrics make sense, and the melody makes sense, and the chords make sense, then you can do it in different ways. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's funny you should say that, because that the track I played at the beginning of the new album, I've recorded that that's the third time I've recorded that. The first time was with a trio, bass and drums, out when we lived in Italy. Then about 4 years ago, I recorded it in the studio with a guy playing slide and a double bass, and now I've redone it with a percussionist and an electric bass player. And it's, for me, it still works. Because I think it's because, as you say, it's the song that matters, not the actual production of it in that particular moment.
And if you're lucky enough, the production will be great, but you're not really in control of whether the production is massively appealing to loads of people. And if that's that's not really what I mean. But if you're true, so when I'm actually recording and doing them, I don't do the mixing, so I do the engineering, and then the process ended up being, I'll capture everything in here, send it all to my producer Sam in an absolute state, and just be like, here you go, if there's anything you can't work with, let me know and I'll re-record it, but otherwise I think this is
do what you can.
We'll do this back and forth. Like, he'll send me his first mix, I will write 50 to 100 bullet points, per each broken down into each track. I don't want this here, I'd like to have more of that, more or less of this, try this ambiguous idea. Like, I love my Trespassing Lights, building on the idea that features in Chris Whitley and Queens of the Stone Age and loads of other stuff with radio interference at different points throughout the record.
All right.
I remember that when it came to me, I was like, actually, I really want that here. Can we try and do that? That was a bit of a back and forth. It was like, could you try and come up with some like radio interference stuff somewhere, and we'll see. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I had to send him all the reference material and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed that process of just doing it. It was cool. But you don't know. And once it's done, once you've said, oh, so that was the point. Sorry, the point I was trying to make was my litmus test for that when I'm doing it is, does it make me feel do I get the hairs on the back of my neck, or do I, because there's a lot of very, very personal stuff on my last record about my grandparents passing, which my brother's playing on the set. my brother plays. The only collaboration I do on that one is my brother turns up and does a guitar solo and a bit of backing vocals for like a tiny bit. And that was the example. It's like, oh no, the mix is fine. If there's nothing in it which is annoying me, even slightly, get rid of all the stuff that annoys you, because that just turns into a festering wound.
It does.
If there's any, you can't. If you leave something that's just even a slight niggle on one track, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years later, it's going to be unlistenable. You won't be able to tolerate that. You just got horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, we all know that feeling, mate.
So don't compromise that. That's like rule number one. But then also make sure that I'm not going to worry about tone or effect or anything. Just it needs to elicit an emotional response from me up until the point where I say done. If at the moment I say done, I get the goosebumps or I feel upset or joyful or like, yes, then I'm like, I'm done. Because then it's not mine anymore. It's gone. And I also don't do much promotion of my stuff, but I'm hoping it lives out. I'm hoping it finds its way to people who need to hear it at some point soon.
Good. Well, whilst we're talking about that, where we've got your, this is where people can find your music. Quick,
that's the one.
Commercial break.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to sing for us next? Then is this off the old album or the new album?
I'll sing one because you were talking about Lowell George off the last one as well. So I'll probably sing that one. Talk a bit about that as well. It's a song called "You Took My Man," which I wrote when Chris Cornell died. So I'm wearing a Soundgarden t-shirt now. Soundgarden is one of my favorite bands ever. Chris Cornell was pretty much hero is not the right word, but he was definitely my most listened to musician, I think.
Right.
And when he died, it was the first person that died in my lifetime in the public eye that really upset me. And so when I started writing it, I was going to write a song for him just to say how much I loved his music. But then it turned into this thing which was like, oh, well, he died because of this drug he was on called Ativan, contributed to his suicide. And I said, well, Lowell George and John Bonham both died with stuff in their system that shouldn't have been in their system, and so did a lot of other of my heroes, called Kossoff and all the other.
Kossoff was
marvelous.
I adored Kossoff.
Yeah, right. He loved heroin. Oh my god! And, I hear heroin's pretty good for that,
Well, for killing people, yeah,
a bit more-ish. That's what they say. So yeah, I thought that's what the song ended up being. It's called "You Took My Man," and it's dedicated to those three guys. The stuff that was in their body. So. Chris was always there. I must have been 10, screaming like a bear. I just opened my ears, and the news brought me to tears. It said that Chris Cornell has died today. But at Divine, you took my man. You burnt the light out of his day. Hey, and I know well, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I hope I hear his voice again. So Lowell George came later. I must have been a late teenager. his electric socket wrench resonator. I lost so much sleep playing along with little feet. Like Chris Lowell's gone today. Oh, speedballs, you took your toll. You burnt the life from his day. Hey, and I know well I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I'd love to hear his slide again. I pick the strings and I do my best to sing, and I stomp on things some of the time. But what makes it tick along is a madman on the drums. And John Bonham was the best there ever was. But alcohol, you took your toll. You took what was left for that man to play to me. And I know well I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I hope I hear 4 sticks again. Alcohol, you always take your toll. But it wasn't on Plant or Jones or Page. No, 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 no. I know well that if he's still drumming, he's probably drumming in hell. So I might get to play with him someday. Hear them play, what a trio they would make.
Lovely stuff.
Thanks. It's the guitar doing the job, brilliant.
It's funny how there are certain characters who stand out. Like for you and me, Lowell George, although we're clearly different ages.
Yeah.
And Kossoff. I mean, Kossoff. I was fortunate. I saw him quite a few times, and he was just gobsmacking.
You see him with Free?
Yeah. Saw the original band.
He did a solo thing for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, called Backstreet Crawler.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was the album he did after he left Free. But
I mean, Free. I think Free might be. I don't know. Favorites is something I love saying, but I mean, they are severely awesome.
They are. Yeah.
They're just.
I still think Tons of Sogs is still, the first album. Yeah. I still think is extraordinary.
Yeah, I got the Free Story on vinyl. No, I didn't. I got Free at Last on vinyl the other day, and that's like, it's got my favorite. It's weird because it's later, isn't it? But I just love Sail On. I think Sail On is such a beautiful track. But it's got that whole piano vibe thing that they were doing. But even just
the thing
nothing
for
like
me.
It. One of those amps turned up to 10 and
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
proper 50s Les Paul, just giving it some with his
The thing was
fingers.
that in the 60s there were sampler albums that the labels used to put out, and Ireland put one out called "You Can All Join In," and basically they take like 2 tracks from each of like maybe 8 or 9 current albums that they were promoting. And you buy the sampler for about 50p. And this one had Stevie Winwood on it, and Traffic, and Dave Mason, and the Wider K Frog, and it had the track I'm a Mover on it. And I can remember hearing that and listening to that guitar, of thinking, dear God, that is just heavenly, absolutely. And they were amazing. There's
a not a BBC, it was done on Hulu, thing called Devs. I don't know if you watched Devs. It was like a sci-fi TV show. It was bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
But there was, and it's a really, really deep subject. The whole thing is just unbelievably like mind-boggling. And the sixth episode, I think it's the 5th or 6th episode, it's all to do with like multiverse stuff. So that they show this one scene in a flat with this couple, and it shows them overlaid with themselves and all the different things they could be doing in all these different universes. And the track that they use for it is, I think it's "Be My Friend."
Yeah,
and it's they play the whole track.
Yeah,
front bit, and it sounds absolutely epic. And it's just like, I'm so glad Free is being used in that way, because the production's so good as well. I mean, bloody hell. Yeah.
And I mean, they were apart from Paul Rogers, I think they're all younger than me. I don't know who's left now, actually. I think it's only well, Paul Rogers is still alive. Is Simon Kirk still alive, the drummer?
I haven't heard that he's died. Let's put it that way.
Andy Fraser died a couple of years ago.
He did, didn't he? I remember. Yeah. I remember when Andy Fraser
But
died,
he was only, I think he was only 15 or 16 when they recorded Tons of Sobs. And they really didn't know what to make of him, because it was he turned up at the rehearsal and he was quite a cocky young lad. He turned up and he was just awesome. But yeah, great band. I feel privileged to have seen them so many times, to be honest, because they were.
The drummer couldn't really play when he started, could he? He was kind of learning as he was going. It's a bit like the Arctic Monkeys drummer. It's a bit like he wasn't. He's actually pretty awesome drummer by the time he finished. But in the first record, he was kind of. It's why the drums are so simple. So that
yeah, but it's perfect. I mean, the thing is, the rhythms might be simple, but the groove is great. I mean, that's the important thing for it. I mean, I'd not thought of it like that, but he was incredibly tall, Simon Kirk. All the others were very short, and Simon Kirk was very tall. So when you saw him play, it was almost like an octopus, because he was all arms and legs, and with these 3 other guys on stage. Sorry, I could talk about Free all night.
No.
Listen, we're heading towards the end. I think we should get you to play another song.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been lovely talking to you.
It's been good fun, man.
Got a lot. See, there's so much. There's a lot that I could play. I just want to make sure that everyone who's seen me for the first time, which will be everybody, because nobody knows who I am. Hello, everybody.
There's a comment just come in from a friend of mine called Hugh Blazer, and he and I started chatting about music on the internet about 6 months ago. He'd posting a song he'd written, and I said, "Very Little Feat," and he actually is a huge Lowell, and he's put, "Great song, great playing, and great tribute to Lowell."
Get on, that's what we want to hear. Lovely.
Brackets and Chris and Bonzo.
Yeah, right. Don't forget those guys. Let's put this up here. So yeah, I'm keen to make sure that people hear a couple of different sides of my playing. We'll probably put it here, I think. So this is a song that will be on the next record as well, and it's a bit more of an intense subject. I've only just finished writing it, so fresh. So I'm picking up where Neil Young left off with "Don't Let It Bring You Down,"
right?
With the subject of that song, and a bit I'm flavoring the riff and taking it somewhere else as well. And I'm also picking up on underneath the bridge, something in the way by Nirvana. Trying to write a song which is an antidote to some type of nihilism. So I spend a lot of time, probably too much time, thinking about thinking. And there's a very famous neuroscientist and philosopher called Sam Harris, who I despise, because he's one of these people who believes in this thing called determinism,
Right.
which is that everything that there is can be explained by the deterministic nature of the universe, and that we're all walking a path that's been laid out, and there's nothing we can do to escape that. And I don't think it's actually very sophisticated. I think it views the world wrong. But the reason I wrote the song isn't for that reason. The reason I wrote the song is because I think if enough people believe that that everything is predetermined, it will end up seeping into our legal system, and we'll end up giving very bad people an excuse to do very bad things. And I think it's detestable. So this is my little bit to fight against that, and to remind everybody that they have the ability to determine whatever they want. It's called Change the Record. Thank you for having me as well. That's really
Pleasure,
cool.
mate.
He denies the random again, 'cause everything is planned. Subscribe to an app for my pain, and God's just a man. We won't overthink it if you do the thinking for us. Leave some space for meaning. Sound. The top has sprung a leak again, echoing through time. He tries to close the loop again. I protect what's mine. My conscience might override the carrot and the stick, but your morality is derived from your facts and your tricks. It's time to change the record, get back to hypotheticals, determine time, determining minds. Please let me tell you something. The devil's only waiting for you to say you were always gonna do it anyway. The clever man's talking again, one horseman down. He tries to close the loop again. My dreams are out of bounds. I don't profess to know any more than you, but please beware of the man that preaches his truth to you. It's time to change the record, get back to hypotheticals, determine time, determining minds. Please let me tell you something. It's time to change the record, get back to hypotheticals, determine time, determining minds. Please let me tell you something. The devil's waiting for you to say you were always gonna do it anyway. Always gonna do it. Always gonna do it. Keep pushing those billiard balls around. Get out of town, it's transcendental, not accidental. That bit must have given you the slip, given you the slip. It's time to change the record. Get back to hypotheticals. Determine time, determining minds. Please let me tell you something. It's time to change the record. Get back to hypotheticals. Determine time, determining minds. Please let me tell you something. The devil waits for you to say you're always gonna do it, always gonna do it, always gonna do it anyway.
Excellent.
Bottom of the screen there, didn't I?
Well, Mr. Dixon, thank you, James. It's been great. It's been an absolute pleasure. We could probably talk all night. And no doubt we shall meet up again and hopefully in real life sometime and
Sure, Roland, yeah.
jam a bit, play a bit, and generally chew the fat, as they say.
Yeah, man.
So,
thanks for having me. It's been great.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Best of luck with the album. And keep us posted on what's happening.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Okay.
We'll do.
Take care.
Okay. Cheers, man. Thank you. Bye.
Fantastic. That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So that's it from me for this week. Next week, I've got Sally Barker on, which should be pretty damn good. And we shall go onward and upward into 2022. So until then, this is all from me for this week. And I'm going to leave you with a little bit more of my promo because I'm quite proud of it. So there you go. So look after yourselves and take care. Bye.
I've been thinking about where I've been, the places I've visited, the things I've seen, made decisions by people I've met. Some were good ones and some I regret. Don't know the future, can't change the past. That's how it is. That's how it is.